In 1978, China opened to the Western world. After a few decades, in 1999, Alibaba was founded. For what? For what? To forward emails? To forward payments? Now, it's 2022. No, now. That's the end. Jayo! Sourcing agents were indispensable for international trade 2 decades ago. International trade is responsible for trillions upon trillions of dollars of business every single year. Sourcing agents used to be a necessity. They traveled around the world to find the best factories that could make products with the best quality at the most affordable pricing, and then bring those products back to their countries. They were making money hand over fist. And then in 1978, China opened to the Western world. Foreign traders came to China in numbers. Plane after plane, people were coming into China to see the factories, to see this industrial revolution that was happening in China. After Deng Xiaoping opened up the borders, people were coming in and making all sorts of products here. Then, after a few decades, in 1999, Alibaba was founded. Alibaba opened up the internet to factories. Alibaba opened up the ability to be a sourcing agent from the comfort of your own home. It allowed people to look for products in China without going to China, without really leaving their own country, without understanding how Chinese business was done, without understanding the culture. When I got to China in 2012, everybody was a sourcing agent. And they were a sourcing agent for good reason. The product demand for the stuff that was being made here in China was through the roof. You know, all you had to do was find product and bring it back home. People were buying. It was a buyer's market. People wanted hundreds of t-shirts. People wanted hundreds of everything, right? It was a very, in my opinion, a greedy time. People wanted more for less, and Alibaba gave it to them. So where did that leave the sourcing agents? Where did that leave the thousands and thousands of business people that relied on coming to China to go to the factories to source those products? Well, left them shit out of luck. They were replaced. And when I got here and saw that every sourcing agent was doing the same business model and that would soon be replaced entirely, I realized that I had to do something different. Today, sourcing agents still exist, but they rely not as much on the quality of the service that they were providing. They relied on the strength of their relationships with their customers. With the accessibility being opened up to the world, their margins were also squished to almost nothing. When in the past, you could come to China, fill up a container and make 50% on it. Now you are sourcing a product that somebody else could buy themselves without you, really. What were you doing? You were forwarding email. You were collecting a payment, forwarding a payment. You were basically a middleman that was providing no value. So sure, we have a great relationship. We don't want to take the risk of working with a factory directly, but we know how much money you're making now. So how about 3 points? That was the reality that sourcing agents had to deal with. And that is not a sustainable business model for the majority of people. Most businesses cannot survive on 3% gross. That's not even realistic. Now, if you're one of the biggest sourcing agents in your country and you're sourcing for some of the biggest companies in your country with tons of product with consistent orders, sure, you'll survive. But for the most part, that is not what business is based on, right? Most businesses are not of that size. Most businesses cannot rely on that type of relationship. And so what happened is these sourcing agents disappeared. Nobody needed them anymore. Sourcing agents were replaced by the advent of the internet and furthermore, Alibaba. All that they were doing could now be summed up into a platform where you could talk to the factory direct. And through translation software, a lot of the time English was no longer even a boundary. Now factories will hire English-speaking staff. They'll put up marketing on Alibaba in English. Their salespeople will speak English. And the sourcing agents, as mentioned, they're basically, most of them have been replaced. Most of them went bankrupt. Most of them no longer have a business or a career. They were replaced by two things: factories who could afford to hire English-speaking sales staff, factories who could afford to pay for English translated marketing materials, to pay for a spot to market on Alibaba, to pay to go to international trade fairs. In the past, sourcing agents would just come to China, come to cities like Yiwu or Guangzhou, and go to the biggest sourcing fairs in the entire world, pick their wares, go and sell them. That is just no longer required. They were replaced by factories with those capabilities, and they were replaced by contract manufacturers. Contract manufacturers were able to take complex products that you can't just forward emails, that you have to use multiple members of a built supply chain. So to answer the question bluntly, do you really need a sourcing agent in China? The answer is absolutely not. For what? For what? To forward emails? To forward payments? It's 2022. You don't need that. What you do need is to work with component specialists directly or with contract manufacturers who can help you build complex supply chains for complex products. If you have a product idea and you're searching for sourcing agents, scratch that out. You're looking for the wrong thing. Break your product down into components and work directly with specialist factories, or work with a contract manufacturer who can actually help you solve complex problems. If you disagree, sound off in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.